Hey guys, Paul Morrow here again for Obsess.org, doing a big news recap for Tuesday, 19 August. Wow, month's flying by, something's going, man. All right, let's get going. First of all, DC crime. Everybody's talking about it. Let's tease out a couple of things that you're probably not hearing. Number one, the National Guard is not there making arrests. This is a complete misnomer, and it's misdirection by the progressive media. They're not there booming doors, pulling people out of cars and all that kind of thing. They're there not to make arrests. I don't think they even can make arrests. It would be very problematic legally. They don't have the training. They'd have to hang around to be the affiants in court and all that crap. They're not equipped for that. That's not what they do. They're there to use what's called their omnipresence, okay? That's what it's called in the police world, and that's just prophylactic. That's there to keep people from acting up. You put them in high crime areas as a visible, they're almost like security guards, really. What they're going to do if it gets to be rough, they're going to call the police. But they're just extra eyes and ears, and they also stop stuff before it happens. That's why they're there. They're also there for riot control if and when something like that develops. But they're not there to make arrests. And this idea that, we've got this fascist army that's descending and pulling people out of their homes is just complete nonsense, and it's not going on. When is the left going to stop with this stuff? They just love perps. And I got to go to another story here that's kind of related to that, and that is the fact that the Biden DOJ under Joe Biden was pushing back against the White House, saying, stop saying that these pardons that you're issuing are for non-violent perpetrators. They're not. His own DOJ was pushing back against that. And yet again, it's another investigation that has to happen. Is there anything the Biden administration did that was legally sound or commonsensical? They let violent perps at, and as I've talked about on the Ops Desk before, what has to be part of that investigation, because apparently it is underway, it's the auto pen investigation, is who pushed for the pardoning of individual specific people, because that had to come in as an ask. Probably likely came in through various Congress people. That means somebody went to the congressman and said, hey, they're issuing pardons. I got a guy. Can you let him off the hook? Now, if you go down that pathway far enough, there's a very good chance you can see money exchange hands. And so that's where I would go with that investigation. They should look at Pardongate, because it looks to me like there could definitely be some fire there. If the guy's own DOJ was telling him you can't do this, you shouldn't do it, and then they did it anyway, what the hell went on there? This is something that should be looked at, and I hope it continues to develop. Let's keep moving on to other DC investigations. Adam Schiff has formed a legal defense fund. He's a wealthy guy, but he wants taxpayers to kick in money to pay for his defense relative to the alleged mortgage fraud, which looks pretty black and white, but also his alleged but pretty blatant lying in Russiagate. My own opinion, he absolutely did it. He should be investigated. He's going to be caught up in that. But apparently he wants the taxpayers to kick in so that this wealthy guy gets top-of-the-line legal defense because he's hired Preet Bharara, the former U.S. attorney for New York. He's with a very big law firm here in New York. It's not going to be cheap. And Schiff reaches across the country to get Preet, and he wants people to pay for it, to chip in and pay for him. He should pay for it himself, all right? And furthermore, this is part of a pattern because Tish James, the former attorney general, well, the current attorney general, of New York State, who says she was going to get Trump and now is under investigation for that, and mortgage fraud, apparently in two separate grand juries, one in Virginia and then one up in the Northern District of New York, as we've covered on the Ops Desk. She managed to get through with Governor Hochul a $10 million fund for people who are being targeted by Donald Trump. And of course, it was for her. What corruption, man. They make it easy. It's just amazing. Let's move on. Reportedly, files from DOJ relative to Epstein are going over to the Comer Oversight Committee. You're going to start to see some of that stuff come out. The only rub that people are apparently already starting to complain about is that there are going to be redactions. You have to have redactions if it is, in fact, underage stuff. That's just the law. You got absolutely no play there. But that said, we should see if, in fact, there are some bold-faced names in that stuff. We should see it. That stuff should not be redacted. And finally, just for those people who are rooting so hard for Donald Trump to fail relative to Russia and Ukraine, let's just recognize the equities here. Not only is he at least trying, which is more than Biden did, but if Donald Trump fails with this tripartite negotiation to end that war, what it does is it takes us back to the Cold War. Don't get nostalgic about that. The Cold War was good for nobody, and it's not a good way to go. We should progress beyond that. Paul Morrow for the Ops Desk.